What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So today we're jumping in, and I wanted to give you guys a overall impression of the uniforms and the new character in Baku. I think that I'm going to make this clear to a lot of people at the beginning of this video. Black Friday is near to us, it's upon us, right? A couple of weeks out. And so we have this update. If you are a free-to-play player, then at this point, realistically, I think that you should be waiting for the purchase of these uniforms, because more than likely these uniforms will be 50% off during Black Friday, and some of the other things like the legendary battles should be on sale and so forth. So I think I really do believe that you should wait, especially because I want to point out to you guys some of the uniform options for the character. So let's jump in here real quick to the team. I think I have it set up over here so we can see like Riri Williams over here. We know that she's a paywall character, so basically your ability to acquire this character and level her up is going to be largely dependent on paywalls. So yeah, so let's take a look at her uniform options. Riri Williams has some really good uniform options inside here. I'm gonna pull some of these up for you to see right now. So Riri Williams has X23 all new Wolverine, which isn't a bad uniform. I don't compare these uniforms to like uniforms in the game. I want to make sure that you guys understand. So I know like you'll see a lot of content creators will compare these uniforms to like relevance, and I don't think that's appropriate, right? Because if you're using X23, then this uniform is probably appropriate for the character, and it's a good uniform based on that. If a fan of the game, a fan of the Marvel universe jumped in and was going to play X23, this is the most relevant uniform to that character. So in that case, it's a good uniform. It might not be a good uniform in terms of when it was last released to us, the players, but I think a lot of times content creators get wrapped up into the meta more than they get wrapped up into the enjoyment of the game. Like I've played this game and played characters who aren't within the top meta on frequent occasion. Like I've used Black Bolt before Black Bolt got T4'd quite a great deal, and so like seeing him get a little bit more shine inside here, I will still use him. I used Thor when he was not part of the meta, and I will still use him because there are characters that make the game more enjoyable for certain players to play, and I think that's what we should be engaging players in. Are there characters in this game that you as a new player can join and play? So when I look at Riri Williams's uniform options, X23, it's a relevant uniform option for her. It's probably a little old in terms of the meta, but it's a good uniform for her. Doctor Strange is a great uniform option for him. It's a must-have if you're playing Doctor Strange. Wave's classic uniform, I have a mixed bag on Wave's classic uniform, mostly because Wave's classic uniform she's basically behind a heroic adventure paywall. It's not paywall, but it's like crystal wall. So it's not a bad uniform option, but making sure that you get that to Mythic is going to be a little bit difficult and time consuming for some. Like I don't even play heroic quest, if I'm being perfectly honest. Spider-Man's No Way Home black and gold uniform, really good, can't complain about it. Loki, Marvel Studios President Loki, is a great uniform. If you're using Loki, then this is like one of those must-have uniforms. So I really enjoy that uniform overall, although I will say I enjoy his Synergy uniform for this a little bit better, but this is the better of the two options there. So then we also have and so Riri Williams, just so you guys are aware, mostly you're going to be using Riri Williams for support, right? It's going to be her passive and leadership support that you have, meaning like looking at this right here, we can see that she gives 50% increase of energy attack blast types, which is sad because it shows the lack of cohesion in this update, because this doesn't apply to any of the Wakandans or the even Namor for that matter in this update. So it's almost like a standalone in there. There's no cohesion. This doesn't apply to anybody. It's weird. It doesn't apply. And Baku is a physical character. Shuri is a physical character. Namor has some energy-based attacks inside here, so it's weird because we basically get Riri Williams and she gets a leadership that doesn't apply to anybody. Now, her passives, those probably will, you know, roll over to your other character, but you're basically using her for the leadership. A uniform, let's go on her uniform list over here for the uniform effect, is going to be the other one that you're using. Basically, all allies ignore target's dodge rate by 25 and increase basic damage dealt to boss types by 35. So essentially, if you apply this to boss, you're going to use her inside like World Boss Legend, you're going to get the 35 plus the 55 to any blast type characters that you put Riri Williams with. She's a fun character to play. I like her skills and animations. We'll go over that in another video, but realistically, she's just going to be support. So the truth of the matter is like, if you're just going to use her for support, you're probably going to slap a CTP of Instinct on her. No need to actually level up her uniform options because you don't really care about her doing any damage dealt for that. You just care about the support that she has. That's a free to play, you know, hack that you can basically do. Shuri, I'm like calling her Riri Williams' sister, who is presumably, probably, most likely, I think her and Riri will be receiving somewhat of synergy uniform, so be prepared for that, right? Is that I think that her uniform is very plain Jane. I don't like it. I'm waiting for her. It's not bad in terms of like her skill overall output, and we'll review that in another video, but she has some seriously bad options inside this uniform. Like, I mean, these are some bad options, right? And this is one of the reasons why I want to point out to you guys that it might be pertinent to wait, because if it does plan out that she gets a synergy uniform, you know, these options might not hold true. So let's take a look at hers here. We can Shuri has Emma Frost at the Hellfire Gala. This is a must-have uniform for this is a Hellfire uniform. This uniform is a must-have if you are playing Emma Frost, and it actually keeps her within the PvP meta as well. We've got Vision, Marvel Studios WandaVision. This is the best uniform for Vision. It actually supports Wanda. So yeah, this is not a bad uniform. But the problem is that we then get over here Adam Warlock for the Infinity Countdown. So between the two uniforms of Emma Frost and Adam Warlock, you have some very expensive uniform options that aren't going to be very free to play accessible inside here. So this is what I mean. Like, I'm hoping that to God, like her synergy uniforms or something like that have, I don't know, man. Like for instance, I'll pull up Loki for you guys to see so you know what I'm talking about here. Where's Loki at? Where's my man? Oh, there we go. So TVA Loki over here, right? So if I look at Loki over here, we can see his uniform list, and then I can see like this is the uniform options that he has here. You can see it's Thor, it's Colossus, it's Thanos, it's Hyperion, and then it's Spider-Gwen, right? And then we pull up this one over here. Oh, it's still the same. I forgot about that. Never mind. So it's shitty uniform options all around. That sucks. This sucks. So it really does suck, because looking at Shuri's uniform, you're basically looking down the barrel at like, I gotta pay like this. That's an expensive crystal cost. I can't imagine what the exact crystal cost is, but these are very expensive uniforms, like really expensive uniforms. So for a T3, nevertheless. Anyways, then we have Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, Lord of Vengeance, and we have Drax Classic, which is both good uniforms for those characters overall. I love the Robbie Reyes Lord of Vengeance uniform for him. It looks just absolutely amazing from top to bottom, so it's really cool. Yeah. So there we go. So Shuri, terrible uniform options, man. Terrible uniform options. She does play really nicely, and she is really good. And the really cool thing is that if you look at Shuri right now, where she sits, these apply self skills. So Shuri is a little bit different. Shuri has always really been used as a support character, and support character alone. Like, no joking. Like, that's pretty much all that she's been used for. And we can see like her passives now increase basic damage to supervillains 55. We can see basic damage received to 40, and then you can look at like her leadership is nothing to write home about. But basically, this ability is what you were utilizing Shuri for, right? But the truth of the matter is that Shuri plays a little bit different now, where she's like a damage dealing or a support damage dealer, right? So you can use her as a backup on your team. She's going to be able to boost up your character, your main damage dealer, and then if your damage dealer goes down, you'll still have a strong enough dealer probably to get the job done. How often that happens, not a whole lot, but you know, basically that's the idea behind her. She's a support damage dealer. At least at this point, we'll see what happens when she gets this synergy uniform. In my opinion, I think it's happening. I don't see how it's not. Then we get into Moore, whose uniform I was very, you know, when they showed it in the trailer, I was like, man, that thing looks blocky and looks terrible. I think the uniform looks absolutely amazing in game though, and realize it's the textures are a lot smoother than what they looked inside the trailer video, and yeah, it just looks absolutely amazing. Problem is that we're not getting very good reports on the damage output from Namor currently. Playing around with it, it feels a little slow. And on top of that, we're also looking at some of the uniform options that we have for him. So let's take a look at those, right? We got Baron Mordo, Doctor Strange 2. This is obviously the best uniform for him. We got Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Absolute Carnage. Why we still not have an update for Miles Morales? I just don't understand. Then we have Hyperion for the Into the Phoenix uniform. It's the best uniform that he has for him. Cable, X of Swords, and then Kingo. All of these uniform options are the most relevant, except for maybe Cable, but Cable's still relevant there, so no complaint. But pay attention to, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a 40% off for uniform options currently till the 8th. But beware, because like I said, we're rolling into Black Friday, and these uniforms probably, along with their options, will be 50% off. So you might want to pay attention to that. First impressions of them, I see a lot of support here. I see a lackluster somewhat Namor. It doesn't look like he's terrible, but I don't know. So custom gear, I had a CTP of Rage on him right now. I know that I'm playing that. I know that in order to maximize this, I've got to switch out, because CTP of Rage probably not going to be the best one. If you notice, a lot of his skills now have cold damage on them. So in order to maximize those, I'm probably going to have to give Namor a CTP of Judgment. No problem there. I'll do it. It is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be bringing you guys breakdowns of the rest of the gameplay. Somewhat the uniform options are a little lackluster, especially seeing as you can wait on them, but it is what it is. So I'll put this somewhat in the bad category. It's not good, you know what I mean? So it's somewhat in the bad category. All right, guys, until next time, peace.